All right, so here we go. Hello, all original guides and partners. Welcome to this session on Get Your Guide, Health and Safety for all original guides. My name is Susanna, and on behalf of the whole Originals team, I really welcome you back. I am very excited that soon enough we will start welcoming, or in some of the cases we have already started welcoming some of the first travelers that are coming back to our original tours, and we are very happy about that. At the same time, of course, we know that we are not coming back to the same market, and we wanted to acknowledge that, and this is exactly the reason why we wanted to organize this short session for you today. So we hope that it's helpful. So let's see what you can expect out of today's session. So we will talk about different health and safety measures and best practices that we have collected for you. So we have researched these from various sources, for example, from various regional recommendations by local governments. We have approached a couple of partners of ours as well, so that we can create this helpful overview together. I'm also very happy that today we will be joined by a couple of our guests that were able to share a little bit their experiences, to share what they're doing in their tours. So you will get to see them in a short while. Now, also please pay attention and stay until the very end, because we have prepared a little quiz for you at the end, to just super simple questions to check your knowledge and how much you paid attention. And there will also be an opportunity to ask any follow-up questions in the quiz, or like give us any sort of input that you would find helpful in the future. We really want to make this a little bit of a conversation. So maybe in the future we can organize other webinars that we can share even more of best practices as things change in the future, which I'm sure they will develop as well. So let's start with the why, because that's the most important part, and that is, why do we focus on health and safety measures on original tours? And you know, I think the reason is a bit simple, is because customers are there, right? We know that health and safety is actually one of the top criteria that customers consider when they're booking the tours nowadays. So of course, we believe that originals should lead the way in health and safety. We wanted to provide you with information and offer you and make sure that you're feeling ready to get back to the tours as well. I would really like to highlight that, of course, by these measures, we are not only protecting customers, but in the end protecting you as well. So I think that's very important to say. As I said, it's all about the customer. So ultimately what we really want to see is that customers are feeling good in the tours. So I pulled actually 2 reviews which are already mentioning some health and safety precautions as a positive thing about the tours. So the reason why we are implementing these health and safety measures is to make sure that these tours can still be run and customers can enjoy the countries that they're visiting. We are also communicating the health and safety measures to customers, and that is happening in a couple of ways. One, we are showing this information on the Originals tour page. We're showing that the health and safety measures are implemented and specifying which ones. And also, since we are very interested in what customers think, we are also asking some of the customers after they have taken an Originals tour for their feedback, so that we can share it with you and maybe we can learn something from that as well. So that's about it for the intro, and I would really love to jump into the measures next. And as I said, I'm very happy that we are joined by our guests. Our first guest will be dialing from Amsterdam. And that is I hope that Stan is able to join us. He's a very experienced guide who is guiding actually a couple of originals, a newly launched bike tour and an Anne Frank tour with Amsterdam 360. So Stan, can you jump in and maybe tell us a few bits about the first measure that we're going to talk about, and that is physical distancing?
Yes, I can. So what we do actually in Amsterdam is, because we have the 1.5 meters social distancing, and so we need to keep that. So we, in the introduction, we discussed this with the group, and if it's a mixed group, we ensure that always within the bookings made. So if it's a family, of course they can stay together, but then between the family and maybe a couple, there's 1.5 meters, and between me and the bookers. So we make sure that there's always 1.5 meters according to the regulations locally, and then we have to make a bit fun of it, but to show what is 1.5 meters, we have a stick which is 1.5 meters, so that people are more aware what is a 1.5 meter, because after a while people forget. So it's good to start in the beginning and to show that in a funny way, that what is 1.5 meter. Although we don't like it, we need to do it. Otherwise, we might get a fine, or people give a bad review because they don't feel comfortable in the group.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What has been the reaction so far from customers on having to keep the distance?
Till so far, it was all fine, according to what I experienced, because we had small groups. Yeah? So here in Amsterdam, since the mid-June, it's really, the tourism is going up. But now groups are becoming very big. So now we are preparing even to include the audio guidance, because maybe the groups are becoming too big. And so till so far we had only maybe 4, 5, 6 people. So it's quite easy to make sure that everything is okay. Mm-hmm. And actually the challenge comes now, because in 2 weeks we expect that we will have groups of more than 10 people. And of course in Amsterdam 15 is the max. So it will be interesting and challenging now. And we need to, I think now we need to focus on that. And in the beginning it was more like, okay, you ask the people, do they feel comfortable? And of course, if you're with 4 people, 2 couples, you feel comfortable. But now it's not like asking them if they feel comfortable. Now we have to really include the social distancing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. We will, by the way, we will come back to how we can do sort of a physical distancing or extra health and safety in vehicles, where of course people are sitting next to each other, but there's other health and safety measures that we can implement. But I think it's really interesting what you mentioned about audio guides, and when there's, of course, bigger tours with a distance between them. So I know that this is a strategy for some people, that basically after they, until a certain point, when there's enough people in the group, they introduce audio guides or equipment, things like that. Can you tell me maybe like a few words on how do you make sure that, do you have like an extra cleaning regimen? How do you make sure that the equipment is used by too many people at the same time?
I can tell you, of course, if we start a tour, we make sure that everybody can use the hand sanitizers. We have them. We do only walking tours here, so we will not make a stop during the tour. That's one of the things. In the past we did sometimes, but now we make sure that's not happening. Mm-hmm. And also when we introduce ourselves, we check if everybody feels comfortable, and more than six people, we suggest to do the audio tour. But if everybody says, okay, we don't need it, and they have, how do you call it, like face masks with them, we say, okay, it's fine, we can walk through town, but if social distancing is not possible, we use the face mask. So we really discuss with the group what is the best solution.
Okay, got it, understand. And you know, generally for if you're using any sort of audio equipment, handsets, earphones, we have a couple of recommendations. One is Of course, that's also a good strategy to check with customers if this is what they would prefer to have, especially for a walking tour. If the equipment is always used, we definitely recommend to make sure that it's cleaned and disinfected after every use, if it's not something that can be done as one use. Or in those more one-use items like earphones, we either recommend one use once, or sometimes we recommend customers to bring their own as well, which I believe that you're doing in your tours as well. You already started the topic of hand sanitizers. So can you maybe tell me, how do you introduce the topic of hand sanitizers in the tour?
Very simple, because we are quite relaxed here in the Netherlands compared to some other countries like Germany. You can make a joke, because I do a lot of actually German tours, tours in German. So I will probably make a joke like, okay, how does it feel here? You don't have to wear everywhere a face mask. And then I say, okay, but at the end we also have some things that we would recommend. So if you like, do you want to wash your hands? But we don't force them. But of course, as a guide, we do it ourselves. And also actually my colleagues who are there with a flag or with the umbrella, they do it. So we make sure that we are doing it. And then we have the funny thing that actually with German people, I found out myself, a lot of them, they come and they want to shake hands with you. So that's a bit confronting moment. So what do you do as a guide? Usually I accept the hand, but I feel a bit like strange, because and then of course you can of course wash your hands again, but it's a bit weird that a lot of not a lot, but some guests, they feel very relaxed, and maybe sometimes too relaxed.
Yep. I think in those cases it's always a little bit socially tricky, but definitely the recommendation would be, the guides. I think the customers really look up to the guides, and if the guide kind of like leads by example and says, maybe let's not shake hands, but do the bump or so, then it can be even more efficient. And then of course, like with the hand sanitizer, I think you make a good point that again, the customers are really looking at tour guides, and if they see that the guides are using the hand sanitizer themselves, they will be much more likely and comfortable to use it themselves as well.
Yeah, but the point I want to make is you have to be aware that maybe some people are a bit over enthusiastic, and they come to you already like a friend, and you're like, oh, how should I react as a guide? And if you're aware of it, of course you can do it in a different way and without shaking hands. But the first times I was a bit surprised.
Okay. Understand. Excellent. Great. Thank you very, very much for your insights. We will continue to look at other aspects of tours as well, and actually hand sanitizers in vehicles might pop up every now and then. I would really love to welcome Jennifer, who's joining us from Amigo Tours, who's the head of operations there. So Jennifer, would you like to say a few words about how do you handle health and safety topics in Amigo Tours? And maybe we can start with the big topic of masks.
Yes, I think that masks are a measure that everyone has get used to now, and for this reason, in our tours, the use of them is mandatory. The mask should cover not only the mouth, but also the nose. No, it's very important to put the mask on the face correctly, because yes, in these last days that we have started to run our first tours over here, our experience says that customers sometimes tend to cover only the mouth and not the nose. So for our guides, it's important to be reminding that to the customers. In a certain way, we try to be kind of empathetic with customers, because sometimes they get like stressed, or they due to extreme hot during the tours and during walking parts of the tours, well, they tend to cover again only the mouth. In this case, as we want to be kind of empathetic with them, we always permit that customers living together or traveling together put their mask off, but only outdoors. It is completely mandatory inside vehicles, but not in the outside if they keep respecting the distance between them. So yes, I think that's the most important aspect, the correct use of the mask, as here we are seeing on the slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you told me a story about how it gets sometimes very, very hot, and there's like 40 degrees outside, and still we do need to wear a mask, and it is important. So I think it's a very good learning on how to handle that properly and with empathy, but also remaining, pretty, quite straightforward with the face.
Yeah, that's it. Apart from that, we are taking some spare mask on our tours, just in case someone lose their mask or it gets broken. So we come with some spare mask for if they need, if our customers need it.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic, especially in the tours when the face masks are mandatory, for example, inside of the vehicles, etc.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And for all of you who are watching, if you want to find out like even more information about how to wear the face mask safely and correctly, I highly recommend WHO, who has a couple of really nice resources and videos to instruct you. Fantastic. Well, let's talk about vehicles as well. We already started a little bit. So what is the regiment, and how do you keep vehicles safe nowadays?
Well, these two measures are related. So basically, the measure of same seat is related to take the same seat during the whole journey, during the whole tour when using coaches. And basically, this is to reduce the probability to touch everyone the same areas. So at the very beginning of our tours, our guides say some guidelines about what health and safety measure we'll be taking during our tours. So this way, our middle customers knows how the tour will be organized, and they feel kind of confident about what will be happening during the whole tour and what we have done previously to the tour and what we'll be doing during the tour. So our guides assign the seats to every customers, and they have to maintain during the whole tour. All of our vehicles are sanitized, deeply sanitized every night. So when the customers get in the coach, they will find a clean car. And then during the tour, every time they get off and then get in, our drivers clean the most frequently touched areas to reduce the probability of everyone touching the same areas. But yes, basically these are the measures we are taking into the coaches, and that makes feel the customers secure on the coaches. Apart from that, always, as Stan was saying, we provide this hygiene gel when getting in the coach for all the customers.
Okay, fantastic. And I think it's really great that you also kind of like show the customers or also explain the measures to customers. So maybe they don't see that it's, hopefully they see that it's clean, but they can even realize a little bit more that the vehicles are prepared for them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very, very much, Jennifer, for your insight. I think it's really amazing what you guys are doing. So thank you very much. We will kind of stay actually on the topic of vehicles, and I would love to welcome Thora from Iceland, as you can probably see from the Icelandic background. Thora, can you guys also run day trips in bus travel? Can you tell me a little bit about the vehicle safety as well, and specifically maybe also on this point of the air renewal inside of the vehicles?
Yeah. Hello everyone from Iceland. Air renewal, if we're on that topic, then of course we have air conditioning blowing. It's ventilated quite well from external air. We don't use the internal air in general in Iceland, except if we're going in a tunnel. We have a few here, very few actually. And so that's what our normal procedures are. So it's always ventilated and clean air coming in. And then of course in all stops we keep doors open, as we have plenty of fresh air in Iceland. And so we make use of that as well as we can, especially in the summer. Another thing I want to add is that we, of course, what do you say? We channel this to our guests as everyone and all of us being responsible travelers. And so we're all kind of taking a part in this together. So we also ask people if they have any trash, we ask them to leave all trash in the trash bin. So nothing has to be cleaned and cleared off by anyone, especially the guide, because we're also going to be addressing on the staff safety as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is what I wanted to add. Yeah,
fantastic. Actually, I also wanted to ask you about the partners, because I know that you guys stop at a couple of different points. How have you dealt with this situation?
So here in Iceland, we of course have limitations on numbers of people in restaurants and such, and then of course everyone should have hand sanitizers at all entrances, both into the building and in all toilet facilities, and of course enough soap and such. Of course we verify this, and here we are more, of course, not only thinking of ourselves but others. We are responsible for everyone, as this is a common thing we're all fighting. And so we are reminding each other if anything is finished, then of course we go straight and remind the restaurants or anyone to fill up the hand sanitizers. But this is a common thing here, and as I say, everyone is following this through, especially now after the country opened 2 weeks ago, no, 15th of June, actually almost coming into a month, 3 weeks ago. Then we are pulling up sleeves and putting up, making sure that we are on top of everything. So there are certain things, there are certain procedures that our suppliers or restaurants and places we're visiting, and everyone is doing their best to keep everyone safe.
Fantastic. That's, I think, really important, just to keep in mind. Again, for those people watching, if your tours are running through any other partners, to make sure that you're leading people in a safe place, basically. And Thora, you mentioned already a couple of things on the staff health and safety. Is there anything that you would like to add here? I know that you mentioned that a couple of things.
Yeah, so of course also what we ask of our guests and or remind them during the day, as we are doing ourselves, is just using facilities at all stops for washing hands with soap and things. We are of course also wearing masks in the bus, and then outside of the bus we keep distance, and that's how we can do it. Then we have a certain, of course, if people are feeling sick, I mean, every company and just in life in general, there's no like just, what do you say, like get on with it anymore. Like it's very, for some people, that's what they do. If they're sick, they just get on with it and go to work. But that's out of the picture now. So people are monitoring, they're asked to monitor their own health and be responsible, not coming into work if they're feeling a bit under the weather. And also same for just showing good role model, like showing and reminding people in a courteous, like in a polite way. Of course, we're not like following them with a stick and like, hey, you're not following the rules. There's nothing like that. But we're kindly just showing role modeling, and just you know, if people come close to you, you kind of back a little bit, just reminding, you know, softly. Also here in the COVID procedures at Bus Travel Iceland, we ask of all staff to come to work in clean pair of clothes every day if possible, and also we advise people to bathe or shower after the day if you're not used to doing that. And just to mainly make sure that, because we are out there, we're exposed, and we just have to be more aware of that than not, and just try to go through all measures to avoid being affected by this or infected. So we're responsible, and we're also role modeling to others, to our guests.
Leading by example, I think that's the best we can do, because again, for many customers, the tour guides are the faces of the tour. So when they see you doing the proper things, following the procedures that you ask them to follow, they will be, I think, much more likely to follow it themselves. And again, everybody.
I also, from my experience in the tours I've done now in last couple of weeks, then I just feel that people get more relaxed when they feel that we are doing the utmost measures to ensure their safety. So even though there is a frame on this and we're putting out these procedures and asking people to do this and that, I think in the whole picture, people are going to feel just more relaxed and safe and enjoy then the tour much more if they just get a good kind of instructions, clear instructions, and but of course put out in a nice and soft way. But I'm just saying, so you kind of feel like there are people taking care of you and making sure that you are safe on your travels. That's what we want to implement for our company.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you very much, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. Thank you so much, Thora, for your insight, and what you said that you're trying to do, I think we collectively try to do for all the originals. So thank you for making a very, very nice summary out of it.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. So that was all of our, these were all of the recommendations that we have collected. Of course, this is not something that is static. We know that times will change and things will change. We also know that you run various different kinds of tours with various different kinds of customers in different countries. So as I said, like, we really want to keep this a conversation, and maybe in the future we can again talk about these topics again today. I included here a link to the little quiz that you please go and visit to. And again, please offer your feedback or your questions, or even if there's situations that you have seen yourself in your tours that you would really like to share, or on the other hand side, like you wonder how other tour guides or partners are handling specific situations. I think there's nothing better than sharing in these moments. So please feel free to do that on this link. I would like to thank you for your attention today and for your time, and a big thank you for our guest speakers today. I think it was super helpful for myself. I hope it was very helpful for all of you joining. So until next time, see you all, and stay safe out there.